Welcome to Zoom and Vroom with the Polk County History Center. Let's set our coordinates for Polk and beyond. A journey through Bartow, Homeland, and Fort Meade. Today's program takes us back to the historic Seminole hunting grounds along the Peace Creek River, once known as Talachapco. The modern-day communities of Fort Meade, Homeland, and Bartow have long thrived from the same abundance of beauty and resources that attracted the Seminole hunters long ago. In preparation for today's program, please have on hand your Zoom and Vroom packet and a sense of adventure. Everybody ready? We'll go live in 3, 2, 1. Hello everyone, and welcome to Zoom and Vroom live from the PGTV studio. My name is Jayme Jamison, and I am the Curator of Education and Visitor Engagement at the Polk County History Center. More importantly, on the second Saturday of each month, I transform into your Polk County History and Heritage Fairy Godmother. A little housekeeping before we begin. We expect the program to last approximately 35 minutes. Can't stay with us that long? That's okay. You can catch us on repeat through PGTV's YouTube page or anytime on Facebook. Today, we are venturing from the county seat in Bartow to the heritage community of Homeland, and finally, Polk County's oldest continuous settlement, Fort Meade. Did you know that Bartow has served as the county seat since 1866? I bet you did. The city had been incorporated in 1882 and had the largest population in Polk County until 1910, when census records indicate that Lakeland had eclipsed it in size. Having been one of Polk County's older settlements and home to prominent founders of the county, Bartow boasts many unique examples of business and residential architectural stylings. Let's look at some of my favorites, shall we? Our first stop is Unfiltered Bartow, a coffee shop and art exchange housed in a brick building that dates back 120 years. Constructed of brick, the building was originally a hardware store and crockery, somewhere to buy dishes. Between 1910 and 1917, a second story was added, which necessitated an open-air elevator for moving merchandise between the first and second floor. Next, we stop over at Rafa Natural, once home to the Hotel Stewart. This luxurious destination boasted 32 rooms, 20 of which were modernly equipped with hot and cold running water. Guests reserved rooms on the European plan as opposed to the Continental plan, meaning their meals were not included in the $1.50 lodging rate. The hotel made upgrades and modernized to stay attractive to the traveling public. If you step in at Rafa, you can see the beautiful terracotta tile that was added in 1917. Leaving the business district and heading into the residential area, we encounter a home that was recently the most popular home on Realtor.com, the Stanford Inn. Originally known as the Thomas Lee Wilson Residence, this 2.5-story wood frame residence was built in 1908. The original owner's name is embossed in the carriage step in front of the house. The house was converted into a funeral parlor for the filming of My Girl, starring Jamie Lee Curtis, Dan Aykroyd, and Macaulay Culkin, and has been featured in several television commercials. In 1995, it was opened as the Stanford Inn Bed and Breakfast. The inn closed in 2012, but we're looking forward to seeing what comes next for this historic home. Directly across from the Stanford Inn and in view in some of the exterior shots from My Girl is the Benjamin Holland House. Built in 1895, it was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1975. Affectionately nicknamed the Gables, there is no structure in Polk County and very few in Florida which are characteristic of the shingle style as the B.F. Holland House. Completely covered with an assortment of rectangular and beveled shingles, the home reflects a trend toward more contemporary architecture as opposed to the colonial revival style prominent in the region. This home also served as the childhood home for Florida Governor and U.S. Senator Spessard L. Holland. The final stop on our city tour is the Wunderhouse. Built in 1925 by Conrad Schuck, the house continued to be added on to well through the 1940s. It featured a natural air conditioning system which used rainwater, outdoor bathtubs, and a system of mirrors that allowed residents to see the front door from several locations within the home. To give you a sneak peek at what you might see on a visit to the Wunderhouse, let's catch up with Visit Central Florida.
Florida has always been a popular tourist destination, but long before Cypress Gardens and Disney World, there was a one-of-a-kind mansion in the heart of Central Florida.
Hi, I'm Laura Madrell of Visit Central Florida. Nestled in this charming little neighborhood in Bartow, you'll find an architectural marvel aptly known as the Wunderhouse.
When doctors gave him only 1 year to live, Conrad Schuck packed up his family and started construction on his dream house. With its concrete walls inlaid with glass tile mosaics, it's no wonder the unique homestead quickly became a popular tourist destination from the 30s to 60s. After many years of being vacant, however, the iconic home fell into disrepair. Fortunately, in 2015, a young couple fell in love with the undeniable charm of the Wunderhouse and made it their mission to restore the estate to its former glory. In fact, you can watch a part of the restoration process on the Netflix original show, Amazing Interiors. Today, the home is finally open again for guided tours, which means that visitors and locals alike can experience this important piece of Central Florida history.
We're very fortunate to have joining us today Krislin, Kreis, and Drew Davis of the Wunderhouse. We're actually out on the balcony of the Wunderhouse. How cool is that? Not very cool today. It's a little hot. Really hot. Well, we are so excited to have you guys be a part of Zoom and Vroom. As you know, we're featuring Bartow this month, and you guys are kind of one of the new cool things to do in Bartow, huh?
Think so. I mean, we've been doing this, it'll be our third Christmas, so we are still fairly new to the game, but our goal is to put Bartow kind of back on the map and have things for people to do here.
We love it. Yeah, I know a lot of people have to come down here for business, but it's nice to have some leisure and some interesting activities to do. Yep. So let's talk a little bit about the house. I'm excited to learn more about the Wunderhouse. Specifically, what made you guys decide to buy it? I mean, did it call to you? Did it say, hey, please come save me? Or did you guys find it on your own?
Kind of an interesting story there. So Chris and I, we actually met online. One of the things that drew us together was history. We were both very, very interested in history. I think it was our second, I always have to ask Krislin, our second date finally time for us to actually meet up, and Krislin actually asked me, have you ever seen the Wunderhouse? And it was, of course I hadn't. I had not even heard of it. But she actually ended up taking me out here. Really liked the house. And then once I started researching it, that's when I really fell in love with it, because there's just so much on the house. I mean, we found newspapers from almost every state in the United States.
Oh, wow.
Krislin's found them from Munich, Germany. I mean, all over the place. So there's just so much on it. There's such a rich history behind the house. It's just, I fell in love with it at least right then. Krislin, it might have taken a little bit longer.
Even though it was originally your idea to show off the house.
Well, I found it via Google search. So the first time we ever met up in Arcadia, and that was our first day, and we antiqued and looked at historical buildings and all kinds of stuff. And then the second time we ever hung out, we went to, I think it was Avon Park, we went to Lake Placid, we did Bartow, and then I just looked for other things to do in Bartow, and the Wunderhouse came up.
Okay.
And at the time, it was for sale on the market for $285,000. And that's why I was like, yeah, no. Like, you want to do this house by yourself? That's cute. No.
Put a little asterisk next to it, plus work and cost of materials.
I think when we first showed up, I told Krislin, I'm gonna get this house. I told Krislin, you were just like, I don't think so.
No.
Wow. So you guys, the internet brought you together, and then the Wunderhouse brought you to Bartow.
Pretty much.
Yep, and it's been history ever since.
Pretty much.
All right, so talk about the condition of the house. Obviously, it had not had some occupants for a while, and what was kind of surprising when you came in about its condition?
Everything. Everything was bad. I was literally camping in the house initially. Oh, wow. I had no running water. I had no electricity. I just started slowly working on things to get it better. I was in the house for a year and a half, maybe 2 years before Krislin moved in, but.
Did you have running water by the time she moved in? Yes.
I did. I got that much covered.
It took like 3 months, but we got it.
Yeah, that was probably the most exciting thing, running water. I appreciate that a lot.
It was cold water because there was no water.
Yeah, the hot water heater came a little later.
And you're like, I hate everything.
It was still better than nothing.
In the winter.
Oh, wow. Now, did it have air conditioning then too, or was it still?
We didn't get air conditioning for a while, and I remember when I started painting the dining room, and that was like March, April of 2016, and we had no AC. We also didn't have a lot of light fixtures because all the light fixtures were removed from the house, and I forget I did all the work on Saturday and Sunday during the day because that's the only time there was light.
Oh, during the daytime.
And a lot of the light switches didn't work, and there were no chandeliers. So.
Wow.
Got very used to using flashlights. I remember I had a flashlight in like every room almost, because I'd always misplace them and leave them somewhere, and then especially in a large house like this, you'd get very lost, and then it was very dark, and you were sitting there, oh no, where am I?
Wow. So was it kind of a moment of, oh my goodness, what have we done? Or, yes, look at what we're doing?
Depends where and when.
Well, that's the thing.
Different stages.
When Drew won the bid for the online auction, I was still working in corporate America at the time, and I was watching the auction. It's like, oh, you're the winner. And I was like, oh no.
You're the winner.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't exciting when I won it. It was more of like I don't know, I was actually very nervous and kind of apprehensive. It was more like, oh my gosh, what have I done? Like, am I going to be able to pull this off?
Yeah.
So it was, a lot of people were like, you must have been so excited. I was like, not really.
Yeah, but I mean, you fast forward a couple of years, and you guys have done a tremendous amount of work. You did the water and electricity. What's been the most difficult part to kind of bring online?
Some of the inventions. Or restoring some of the inventions. We're grateful to have the original Spinning Susan. That's the 21 square foot spinning cabinet on a dual track system in the kitchen. That was in perfect condition. The hardest thing has been to find, say, a concrete contractor to bring back the sunken tub that we found under 3 layers of floors a couple years later.
Yeah.
But nobody does that type of craftsmanship work anymore, so it's been really hard to find people to restore that and to pull that off.
It's really interesting you bring up the craftsmanship. We run into that sometimes at the History Center with our clock up in the tower. There's not really people who work on those old clock mechanics now. So I think we have to get someone from like South Florida to come out and work on that. So it is a very skilled skill, and it seems like there's just not as many people out there that know how to do those things.
It's really not. A lot of it's trying to figure out how to do it ourselves and trying to figure it out. And that's when you really get to appreciate that Conrad is about 20,000 times smarter than I was. So.
Yeah, I mean, I look around the house and it's like, whoa, how did he do this? So speaking of Conrad, what were some of the things that maybe surprised you when you guys were doing the research on the house about him and his family and why he built this house?
First, most shocking thing to me is everything we thought we knew. We did all sorts of microfilm and newspapers and magazines. We researched everything we could. Once we started doing interviews about people who actually had personal ties to the house, be it family or friends of the family, we learned a lot of the newspapers were wrong.
Really?
So fake news has been around since at least the 1920s, is what I like to tell people. But kind of one of some of the stories I got is a lot of the newspapers did not want to send people down to Bartow, Florida, so they would actually copy each other's stories and they would embellish them and just change them.
This is like a really bad game of telephone.
Really bad game of telephone is a very accurate way of putting it. So yeah, we thought we had all the history and everything figured out, and it really was back to kind of square one once we started doing the interviews. So it was kind of both frustrating and exciting because we were doing something new.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was definitely the most shocking to me, seeing how inaccurate a lot of the stuff was.
Wow. Definitely. Anything jump out and go, wow, I can't believe you did that to you?
That he did everything with a second grade education, no Google, no YouTube. I mean, he just read books. He read so many books. He probably checked out every book at the Pittsburgh Library when he was a kid. I mean, just being able to do that and the ingenuity of coming up with something this massive. I mean, you have a team of your 5 sons, you, maybe a couple of family members that came down to help you initially. But that's just wild to me. Like, I'm an art kid. Like, I build stuff, I make stuff all the time. But just to come up with the idea for how to build this and put in some of the inventions. I mean, air conditioning in the 1920s. Yeah. I can't think of that stuff. And
rainwater, right?
Yep, yeah. The rainwater running through the walls and then getting pumped out to the moat and back to the house on a recycled water system. It just blows my mind, like how he came up with half these inventions, supposedly.
And built them. Yeah, and then executed them. Wow.
And successfully. And that's where, when a lot of the other owners have come in, they've made modifications. You can see some of the modifications failing, or they break some of the original inventions because modifications were made. Because the way Conrad did it, he thought everything through all the way.
Wow. It's really interesting to just kind of look around here. I can't even fathom where you would start on something like this. So as people come through and you do house tours, what can they expect? What are some things what's a typical house tour like?
I think it is, given I'm super, super biased for the house, but for me, it's just something completely, it's almost like you're going back in time to a different world almost, and you're getting to experience just this genius guy. Everything is done outside of the box. Everything is ever so slightly different than what you would typically expect. Didn't believe in putting, pictures on the wall. Instead, he would have his paintings, on the ceiling, and he would have removable ceiling panels and things like that for paintings. Every little thing is just done different. Didn't believe in walls. Yeah, he wanted more doorways and just things like that. Everything had to be a load-bearing wall, and just a lot of just very, very interesting ideas. And he's just a very, very intelligent guy and just such an outside-the-box thinker.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, so now when people do come on a house tour, there's some things that they should know, specifically, like, is there a lot of climbing? Do they need to bring strollers or no strollers? What are some things that they should expect for that?
As far as basics to know, so the biggest thing that I always start off with is to book a tour, you have to go online and you have to reserve your spot in advance. That is step one. Yes. Because people will try to show up. They'll go on Google, and this is a mistake I've seen people make, and that's okay. They'll say, oh, Wunderhouse open today at 2 o'clock for a tour. When in reality, Google does not allow for businesses to put in the ifs, ands, or buts. It does not allow you to say by reservation only, and that it is our full-time private residence. So if you go online, you book a tour, and then when you come for the tour, we do advise against large bags because the house is full of antiques and our personal items. Yeah. No big backpacks and things that could easily be knocked over. We've been to enough historic house tours to see crazy things. Obviously, there's a lot of stairs. Okay. So if people do need a little bit of, assistance, we can accommodate people just staying on one of the 2 bottom floors, and we can go over everything that's on this main balcony with them, via pictures. But there is a lot of stairs, so you should be able to climb stairs. The one thing that we put on there is while there's no photography inside, and that's due to insurance, obviously, anytime they come on a tour and we go on the balconies, or, when you get to wander through the yard, you can take as many photos as you want, because a lot of people, what they do is, they want to create those memories, but we also want people to...
Well, you want them paying attention to the tour, too, and being kind of present in the moment, I think, because it's unique.
People kind of zone out when they're staring at screens and they're not paying attention. So it's nice when people unplug for a little bit and really take it in.
Yeah, definitely. Now, we're going to put on the bottom of the screen the website to go and find out about booking a reservation. Do they pay for it when they book it online, or do they pay when they get here?
They pay when they get here, so it's cash only at the door. I have change, so just bring cash. The hardest thing for people to figure out is parking, because people don't realize the house is smack in the middle of a neighborhood.
Yeah,
they imagine it's, you know, got some land, if only.
On its own.
Once upon a time it was on 14 acres. But when they come to the house, you know, if you're facing the house, you take the little road down to the left of it, El Paso Trail, you park in our backyard, and then I greet everyone as they pull up. I'm always in the kitchen. I'm either cooking or cleaning from the cooking. So I'll usually see when people start pulling up, and I'll go out, greet, and, you know, bring people up.
Perfect. Now, as we roll into spooky season, what kind of things do you think you have lined up for the house this year?
What do I not have lined up? I don't have that 12-foot skeleton from Home Depot. Yet. I called this morning. But always for Halloween, I wanted to keep pushing it. Same thing for Christmas. So adding to some of the oddities this year, I did acquire I don't know if it's 30s or 40s, I need to date it better. It's a whole dental kit. So it's the whole drill and the chair and like really pulling together some more vignettes. I always have, so Conrad Shook used to actually have a coffin left over from Halloween in the parlor.
Oh, wow.
And so I decorate the parlor. So when you first walk in the door, I have it fogged out. I have all the candles lit, and they're right in front of a mirror, so it's reflecting that light. So it's kind of that hazy look, and there's a big coffin in the center of the room. Nice. You're like walking into a funeral.
Yeah.
So really like pushing the different atmosphere things. I was looking up different tricks and things to do to make it look like your house is on fire, like there's like flames erupting, and how to build tombstones. There's so much great information on YouTube. But really pushing the needle this year as far as Halloween goes, like building out some more rooms for different themes.
And it's also really fun with the Halloween season. We finally get to tell some of the ghost stories. Because usually we stick to just history when we're going through the house. With Halloween, you know, you really get to tell some of these great stories we've heard.
Now, if people wanted to bring, like if they wanted to make it a family event, would you say maybe kids over 10 would be okay with it? Maybe under 10 might be a little scary.
So it's not scary at all. There's no pop-ups, and I actually had to talk somebody like to get them to calm down because their kid was so terrified. They're like, there's gonna be zombies and things. I'm like, no. Like I made all of this. Nothing is scary. It's just the rooms are a little bit dark, and we do have taxidermy and, you know, skulls and things on display for oddities. But there's nothing that's gonna come out and scare you. You're not gonna be running and, you know, hiding behind things. So even if they're, you know, younger, like JD is what, 7, 8 years old, and he loves it. So, I mean, our friends' kids are all fine with it. So it all depends on how they handle, you know, dark atmospheric things.
Yeah, and definitely if mom or dad are worried, they can give you a call and just kind of ask you about it. All right, now we roll out of Halloween and we go into Christmas. What does Christmas look like in the Wunderhouse?
The most magical time. Halloween is a lifestyle, so Christmas is like where I go big guns out. I'm from Scandinavia, so my decorating style is a little bit more minimalist compared to
kind of natural and wooden and
But it does go. I have 13 Christmas trees. I couldn't tell you how many wreaths or garlands, but it's the most beautiful because I light up the house from top to bottom. This year I'm adding the chimney, but so it's literally the roof line and all the little. Well, you can see I don't take some of them down.
Every year we've done one more for
I don't think I'd take them down either. I don't imagine how many hours.
Too long. But the house gets lit up from top to bottom, and the magical thing is the night tour. Because the day tours, you see the house, but it's the night tour when it's all really lit up, and it's that kind of cold, you know, outside sometimes, sometimes in December. And so I make like a whole Christmas spread. So being from Estonia, I make Kringles and gingerbread cookies and sugared cranberries, and there's a whole spread of food. So that's like a special tour, and those are the ones that they're gone. The moment I release them, they're gone because it is special, intimate, there's food. It's that kind of Christmas
So when do you think you're going to release those? When should people be looking for that?
So for Halloween, I'm going to release it mid-September. For Christmas, I'm releasing November 1st at 6 p.m.
All right, wow, very specific.
Because I've been telling people.
And it's a fantastic gift. You know, if you're looking for a gift for someone, an experience like this, I can't imagine what would be more cool and interesting.
It's definitely magical.
Now, we're going to go into 2022, and life is going to be so much better. I'm just going to keep saying it out loud. And we roll into Valentine's Day. And do you always do something for Valentine's Day?
We have the past 2 years. If there's demand for it, and there was the first year we did it, it sold out really quickly. Last year, I think it took a little bit longer, and that was due to COVID. So I'm hoping that this year will be better, so we're hoping for that. But I do a Valentine's Day like dessert tour, so I make a bunch of different types of Valentine's Day themed desserts. I bake on the side, so you're getting spoiled with all kinds of good stuff. But typically that would be maybe a Friday and a Saturday, but again, it all depends on demand. So
yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, I think we've covered quite a bit here. I always like to end with something kind of fun, and I call it this or that. And since I have two people here, maybe you guys both say your answers around the same time and see if you come up with the same thing.
Probably won't be the same.
But this is a Halloween edition. So it's this or that Halloween, and it might be things that you see at the Wunderhouse this year at Halloween, maybe not. And I'm just gonna say it, and then you guys tell me which one you prefer. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
Okay. Witches or vampires? It's a tricky one to start with.
Can I have it all?
Going vampires.
Going vampire on it? You could go both? Okay, well, it's my game. I say yes, you can have both. Okay, better movie, Corpse Bride or Hocus Pocus?
Hocus Pocus.
Haven't seen either.
You haven't seen either? Oh my gosh. We're gonna have to get you up to date on your movie education here. Okay, so better Halloween event other than the Wunderhouse, Disney World or Universal?
Universal.
I'll agree.
You like the scary? Yeah, I can't do the scary anymore.
I love their Review Bash that they've had, but I love Horror Nights. I've been doing that in Howl-O-Scream since I was like 10, 11.
Oh, I have not been to Horror Nights since they stopped the Bill and Ted show, and that was like my whole reason for going was the Bill and Ted show. I loved it. Okay, candy corn or candied apples?
Candy corn.
Apples.
Yeah. A haunted hayride or a haunted house? Haunted Wunderhouse.
Well, obviously I'm gonna have to go with the Wunderhouse, but as far as just general house, ooh, that's a hard one. Probably still gonna go with house.
Oh gosh, I don't know. That's hard.
I'll let you pick both again if you want.
I'm gonna have to go with both because I'm lame.
Better prop, and I just thought of this one, a skeleton cat or a skeleton dog?
Dog.
Dog, as long as it doesn't have ears or a nose, because skeletons do not have those, and they keep making them with ears and noses, and I look at it, and I'm just like, that doesn't look like...
That is not anatomically correct. The cartilage will be gone. Speaking of which, skeletons or monsters?
Skeletons.
Skeletons.
Skeletons. And if anybody wants to donate, I hear you're looking for a 12-foot skeleton.
Yes, yes.
Could be found at Home Depot.
Skeleton, honestly.
Better Halloween color combination, purple and green or orange and black?
Orange and black.
I'm gonna go with the classic.
The classic orange and black. I've been leaning towards the purple and green lately. It just feels, I don't know, different. Yeah.
Solid combo.
All right. Your better basic Halloween beverage, pumpkin spice latte or a malted cider?
What's a malted cider?
I don't know. I just kind of looked it up. It's got apple cider. Okay, yeah, an apple cider.
I like apple cider.
Apple cider.
I'll go with apple cider.
Or pumpkin milkshake.
Ooh, thinking outside the box now. Well, again, it's been so great talking with you guys. I'm so excited to get some people out here to visit Joan and, of course, the house and learn more about Bartow's history and really get to appreciate the town and the county that we live in.
Thank you.
From the Wunderhouse, we hop on Old Homeland Road and make our way towards Homeland Heritage Park. This outdoor experience walks you back in time to life in Polk County during the 1870s to 1880s. Let's send it over to Murtis to learn a little bit more about Homeland.
This stop on the Heritage Trail brings us to Homeland Heritage Park, located between Bartow and Fort Meade in the Homeland community. This beautiful park complex contains historic buildings from the Homeland area and from around Polk County, and today serves as a community gathering place. Following the establishment of Fort Meade in 1849, hardy pioneers ventured into the area in the 1850s in search of prime agricultural and cattle grazing lands. Homeland, originally known as Bethel, quickly became the site of the campground where Methodist and other families from the surrounding area gathered for religious and social events. By the 1880s, Homeland contained a school, a church, and was home to prosperous farmers, both white and African American, who were successful in the cattle and citrus industries. Created in 1985, Homeland Heritage Park honors the resilience of these settlers and preserves the rich culture of the area. The park is maintained by the Polk County Board of County Commissioners and contains several buildings integral to the growth and development of Homeland and surrounding communities. Originally known as Bethel Academy and situated in its original position, the Homeland School was constructed in 1878 and remained active in the Polk County school system until 1956. The building is listed on the National Register of Historic Places and hosts a number of educational programs, including the 1880 School Day for elementary students. The Homeland Methodist Church was built in 1887 and moved to its location in Homeland Heritage Park in 1986. The church features stunning stained glass windows, unique for a country church, and an original Packard pump organ manufactured between 1885 and 1887. The 2,000-pound bronze bell in the steeple is also original to the church. Also located on the property is the Rollerson House, a prime example of an affluent 19th century farmhouse. Purchased by Daniel Rollerson in 1900, the house originally stood west of Lakeland and was moved to Homeland Heritage Park in 1987. The last structures to be located in the park were the pole barn and English log cabin in 1989. Donated by the English family, the cabin and barn provide an excellent example of early homestead life in Florida. As a celebration of the history of the area, the park also hosts a variety of community events and educational programs throughout the year, including the Cracker Storytelling Festival, Christmas Notes Festival, and in the springtime, Good Old Days Festival. Homeland Heritage Park remains a cherished point of pride in the community and is one of the unique places you'll find on the Heritage Trail. We invite you to hit the road and see what other historic locations Polk County has to offer.
You can visit Homeland and take a self-guided tour daily between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. All you need is a phone with data to view the QR-coded videos at each building. If you are interested in a guided tour, you can schedule one by calling 863-344-0617. And don't forget to keep an eye out for their annual holiday program, Christmas Notes. Our last stop this month brings us to Heritage Park at Fort Meade. The playground and grassy area denote the location of the original old fort at Fort Meade. But even before it was Fort Meade, it was Untitled Chapter, a hunting ground for the Seminoles during the 1800s. It is believed that the renowned Seminole chief, Osceola, even spent time in the area as a young child. Let's take a look at what it was like for Seminoles living in Florida in 1928 in this video from the State Archives at Florida Memory. Businessman and adventurer Homer Augustus Brinkley produced this film in 1928 to illustrate the exotic environment found in the Florida Everglades. Brinkley lived among the Seminoles in the Everglades for several months. Filmed by William B. Freeland and produced by Brinkley, the film contains some of the earliest moving footage of Seminoles. Beginning with panoramic shots of vegetation, waterways, and abandoned structures, the film also includes footage of wildlife, such as an owl, raccoons, water moccasins, alligators, deer, a wild turkey, and a bear climbing a cabbage palm. Scenes of Seminole life in the Everglades center on Camp California. Scenes include two women grinding corn, followed by close-ups of their clothing. Seminole women and children are shown in chickees. Views of the landscape include orange groves and crops in the field, as well as Seminoles walking through the forest and using a canoe to travel. A family is shown returning from a hunt with the father presenting a brace of raccoons. Another man wrestles an alligator in a grass clearing. Men are shown spearfishing from dugout canoes. an elderly man prepares for the green corn dance. A woman identified as a princess is shown in a dugout canoe. Chief Josie Billy is seen, followed by the catfish dance around a fire. Other dances filmed include the sun dance, turtle dance, and buffalo dance. Men, women, and children are shown playing a vigorous game of Seminole stickball, followed by close-up views of the victorious team. The film ends with more scenes of the Everglades landscape and wildlife. Make an afternoon of your visit. Bring a picnic lunch and read She Sang Promise, the story of Jayme Jamison, Seminole tribal leader. She Sang Promise is a beautifully illustrated book about Jayme Jamison, a Seminole tribal leader. Jayme is 5 years old when she watches a truck leave with chickens, cats, her dog, bear blankets, grinding bowls, and fishing poles. The family is moving to safety. Danya Reservation is the name of the new place. It is near a town, Fort Lauderdale. In the wars against Jayme's Seminole ancestors, the fort was home to soldiers. Jayme's family walks. They meet a train, they ride it. Then they walk some more. Jayme is tired when she reaches the Danya Reservation. Her dog, Jeep, is already there. Jeep nuzzles her. Welcome home. At Danya, the family keeps up many old ways. On shivering nights, sometimes by moonlight, Jayme eats oranges roasted by the camp's fire. Her lessons are from elders and stories of the little turtle and the wolf, Gray Bear, the deer girl, and more. They sing respect for the breath giver's creations. Jayme takes each story into her heart. When visitors join the camp at night, they marvel at the fire-lit sight. Rabbit beds down with dog, who is cuddled into cat. Says Ada Tiger, a skillful hunter, "My Jayme can raise and tame anything." One of the reasons I love this book is not only the beautiful illustrations, but in the back there is a glossary. And the glossary includes some of the historical information about the Seminole land and the Seminole people in Florida. It has maps, a chronology, and even a picture and description, biographical description of Miss Jayme herself. I very much recommend this book for any family looking to learn more about the Seminole ancestors who settled here in Polk County. Well, I think you're ready to zoom out of here and start exploring. Be sure to pick up the driving tour card at the History Center or request a PDF copy to be emailed to you. Traveling with kids? Make sure to snag a Zoom and Vroom adventure pack to accompany your drive. This month includes some Seminole-themed buttons and a paper seed butterfly that you can plant and grow your very own garden. We hope you enjoy discovering Bartow, Homeland, and Fort Meade. And don't forget to join us on October 9th when we explore Polk's historic cemeteries. Happy trails!